Welcome to another gorgeous day and another day of Dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique individuals come to talk love and life and how it has brought them all the way to where they are today. And with me is the beautiful Molly. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. So before we get going, tell the world a little bit, who is Molly?
Yes, so I am a country singer-songwriter artist. I actually just moved to Nashville, Tennessee, so I'm so excited. It's been a lot of fun these past few months. But I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. I grew up in a very close-knit family. We were always together, always doing things. I have a really big family, and always surrounded by music. My parents actually took me to my first concert when I was just 5 years old. We went to see Tim McGraw in Faith Hill. And
That's a good concert.
It was, yeah. It was a good first concert. But yeah, and I grew up, always singing. Like my parents said, since I could talk, I could sing. I was always around the house singing and performing, putting on my own little concerts for my friends and family and babysitters, everybody. But it wasn't until I was 12 or 13 that I learned to play the guitar. So I actually, as much as music was a part of our family, sports was too. And so I actually grew up playing basketball as well. And when I was 13 years old, I ended up having a tumor in my femur bone. So I had this big surgery, and it was during that time that I was out of basketball for about a year that I really dove into music. My dad taught me how to play the guitar, and I started writing a ton, and I ended up not going back to basketball and just sticking with music full time. So it's always been, my love, and my parents, my family, everybody's been so supportive. And yeah, that's what I love to do.
That's you in a nutshell.
That's me. Yes, it is.
How life brings you to where you are, right? Like you have, so you just have this tumor. I love how you just said it. So I have this tumor.
Casual, just,
I ended up with a blister, so I didn't play anymore.
Right.
kind of the same thing, but I feel like when I was reading about you and trying to understand who Molly is on my end, I was like, I love that you talk about how your writing is really based off of your love in life, and I was like, wow, that's exactly my jam, but you're doing it in your song. So what made you I feel like that's a brave thing. Like, what made you be brave enough that you're going to be like, that's going to be what I write about?
Right.
How did you get there?
I feel like at first it was just easiest to write what I know, like things that I'm going through and whatever. But I remember the first time that I shared one of my songs, with anybody, that I actually posted. I made a little YouTube video and put it out there. My first original song that I shared, I was terrified, because it was very personal, and it was about a relationship I had just been in, and it was back in high school, and I knew that people were going to know what it was about and all of that. But just knowing that, it's affecting people. Like, I get a lot of people who reach out and say, oh my gosh, I totally feel this. I went through this, with this person and whatever. And, knowing that I'm reaching people and making a positive, impact is what makes it worth it for me, I feel like that's kind of what music is, feeling not so alone in what you're going through.
Yeah. Do you, when you're writing your music, because I write a lot too, so when I blog, so I'm in the relationship side of things. And when I write or blog or even just put a couple statements on, it's usually about something that I'm going through personally. Right? I feel the same way. People can really feel and relate when you're talking about yourself. But I always take it from my perspective, because I believe in owning how you feel and your actions. So when you write, do you do it from your perspective? Because I could see that getting a little bit is she talking smack about me and using her platform to like get her revenge?
That's so funny. Yes, it is usually from my perspective. I have written a few songs that are about friends. Like friends have come to me, you know, and told me stories and things, and they're like, "I need you to write a song. I need to feel like in the song what I'm feeling. I need you to write this." And so I've done that too. And I'm sure there are people out there that have heard some of my songs and are like, "Oh, dang! Like I think this one's about me," or you know. But I try not to, you know, be too harsh or too whatever. You know, it's just whatever I'm feeling, and
Yeah.
just try to be honest and vulnerable, and yeah.
Yeah. So what do you have? I know you put something, you had a song come out, and now you have another song that's coming out, I don't know, like in a couple of weeks. I feel like February is flying by.
Oh my gosh, yes. This already 2021 has like flown. January flew, yes. February won't fly.
Yeah, so I'm like, is it a week from now? Is it 2 weeks from now? I think it's like 2 weeks from now you have a song coming out. Tell me a little bit about that. Because I feel it's when I read the name of it, I was like, ooh, that's going to have a good story behind it. That's like, so I want to hear all of it. I want the ending.
Oh yeah, get the scoop. Yeah. Okay, so this next song that I have coming out is called Break a Heart. And it is a song I wrote a couple of years ago. And so a lot of my music tend to be relationship type of songs, and usually more on the breakup side of songs. But a lot of the songs I've written and put out there are songs about, you know, me getting dumped and being sad or mad or, you know, those emotions. But for the first time in my life, I had to break up with someone else, and I had never done that before, and I didn't know how to do it. You know, it's a hard thing. And I remember I journal, so I pulled out my little journal, and I was writing, and I wrote down the phrase, "How do you find the words to break a heart?" And I was like, oh, that's a song. Like I can write that. And so, yeah, I wrote it, and it's all about, you know, being on the other side of a breakup, you know, being the one who has to break a heart, and how that can be so hard.
Yeah. Do you find it easier to be broken up with or to be the breaker-upper? Now that you have experience.
And now that I have both, right. Oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like I think it's still harder to get broken up with. But it's close, because I don't know, you know you're hurting someone, and I don't know, it's hard.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm listening to you and I'm thinking of myself, I'd be like, I think it would take a lot of courage to actually break up with somebody, because it's easy to be like, you know, take the pain and be like, okay, I'm not really happy, and you just live. I mean, people do this all the time. This is why people end up in relationships where they're not satisfied, whether it's, you know, romantic or even a job or something, right? Or friendships. You just, but it takes a lot of courage to say, this isn't good for me, knowing you're going to hurt someone, because it's easier to just take on the pain and be a martyr and be like, oh, I can do this. So I think for me, like listening to it, it's like, definitely think it's harder to break up with somebody.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. It is. They're so different. Like there's parts of each that are so hard, and I'm excited for people to hear that song for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear it and be like how you describe it, and see if I relate at all to it.
Yes.
In some sort of form. So now also, I mean, how old are you now?
21.
21. So you're 21 years old. This is like, that's a big birthday. That is a big year. You know, I feel like 21 you can drink, and 25 you can rent a car. I mean,
right. That's my next birthday. I know. After that,
downhill. Sorry. But have you found your songs about relationships have kind of evolved as your relationships have gotten deeper as you've gotten older?
Totally, yes. So my first few set of songs that I put out were all songs that I wrote in high school, and things, you know, I was going through in high school. So, you know, now, being, you know, a few years older, yeah, I feel like I've just got a more mature outlook on things. And yeah, I feel like mature is the best way to describe it. Just, some of the things that I was, complaining about in high school, or things that you think are going to be the end of the world, just aren't anymore.
Yeah. Although I was writing today, and I was writing about simplicity, right? When we have these, sometimes we justify what we do. Like, we know what we want to do, but then we make these excuses under like this umbrella of justification to make it be like, it's okay. But basically, we're just making up excuses for why we don't want to, like, be brave, and do these things. And so I had this idea, or just this concept in my mind. I'm like, I'm just going to write down whatever my pain is, whatever that is, right? If it's not bringing you love, it's bringing you pain. Like, so whatever it is, could be like little, big, and look at it objectively, and then write a solution. And when I'm listening to you talk about like this, how things were simpler, it's not a big deal about the things in high school. I feel like it's that through everything. If we just look at it very simplistically, and then just like, yeah, okay. Here's
Exactly.
the solution. Get out of our own stuff.
Yes, totally. I feel like, yes, at the time, things seem so big, and like, like things are never going to get better, or, whatever the situation is. But yeah, looking at the big picture, it's like, this is such a small part of my life and my story. Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
What do you think's going to happen? I'm so curious. What is going to happen when you find that person and you fall madly in love and you have a family? Do you think your writing will, will have to change, right? Into a different kind of even vibe.
Yes, I do think so. I think I'll always write the heartbreak kind of songs too, and pull from other parts of my life or people I know and things, just because I love writing those kind of songs. But yes, I'm hoping that, when I meet that person and I have a family of my own, that, it'll turn into the lovey songs and all of that. Because I do write about my life. So, things that would be what's going on.
I guess it's just that whole, I don't have like that super creative side like that. And I think it's like a book. If you write fiction, you write fiction. It might evolve, but it's like fiction. If you write fantasy, it's always going to be fantasy, but it'll be some sort of, evolution of that fantasy story. So I feel like that's kind of what you're doing, but it's not in a book form.
Right. Yes. And that's cool about all of, the creative outlets that we have, like, writing and music, acting, things like that. Like, everyone, has their way of expressing themselves and evolving and, learning in their craft.
So did you move to Nashville by yourself?
Kind of. I talked my cousin into moving with me. So she is like a video film editor and photographer and things. So I was like, you could totally be, finding things to do in Nashville and have work and all of that. And she was just like, yeah, like I could do that. And so, so she moved with me.
So there you go. And now, how long have you been in Nashville?
We moved in September. So it's been 5 months or so.
So tell me about that. I always get fascinated by people's like life and what, obviously that's why I do the show. What makes them like take the step into doing it, and what does that look like? Because it's so brave when you do things like that, especially so young. First of all, I'm going to take that back, because it's brave to do it anytime. Like, who are we kidding?
Right.
Make it even harder when you're old and
probably
stuck, and I have all these responsibilities and blah blah blah.
Yes, totally.
So I want to hear all about it. What has it been like? Tell me it all.
The whole story. So I actually went to college for a year. I went to Murray State University in Kentucky. And it was during that year that I started putting out some music and playing a ton. And I think it was during Christmas break, like the little semester break. I talked to my parents and said, like, hey, I've been doing all this music and it's been great. And I don't think I want to go back to school. Like, this is, I want to do music, and I can't really do that when I'm, at school all hours of the day and whatever. And so literally right away they were like, okay, like, yeah, like let's put a plan together, like a business plan and whatever, and we'll do it. Like, let's do it. And so they were so supportive. It was awesome. My mom, actually, she's in education. She's been a principal for her whole life. And so she's very, school oriented. And she said to me, there are some things that you can't learn in four walls of a classroom. And for what I want to do with my life, I need to be in Nashville. That's what I got to do. So I went back home to St. Louis for a year, and I played as much as I could, tried to save up some money, and then moved to Nashville. And that was always the plan, was to be here. And for that year I was in St. Louis, I did come to Nashville a ton. I'd spend a week in Nashville, go back to St. Louis for a couple weeks, and then come back to Nashville and just try to, surround myself in the city and the people and everything. But yeah, so I'm so happy to finally be here and just always in it and, playing a ton, writing a ton. It's such a cool city.
Yeah. You're not having to go back and forth. That can take a lot. And how great that your parents, because sometimes as parents, we get fearful and we're like, oh, and so we put this like negative, cloud over dreams of our children. And, and so for them to, even if they were freaking out a little bit inside, like, this is going to be really, nothing. It's never that you can't do it. It's just like, it's going to be hard. And, you don't want to see people you love struggle, but that struggle is what makes the success so great. So
exactly,
to them for being that supportive backing for you to give you that extra boost if you needed that extra boost, or just make it easier.
Yes.
It is hard.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so grateful that I have, the parents that I do, and they support me like crazy. They're at every show I play, and they're posted on Facebook all the time, and everything I do, and that was the same way too, like back when I was playing basketball and theater and anything I did, they are just always so supportive. So I'm very lucky.
Note to self out there, people, don't be negative Nellies. You have to support the dream. Yes. Let the failure come if it comes, because in that failure, the success, right? There's always that like up and down. We have to fail so we can succeed forward. That's really cool. Are you the only child?
I am not. I'm the oldest. So I have a younger brother and sister. So my sister is about to be 19 and my brother is 17.
You're forging the way for your siblings.
Yes.
Good job. I love it. So I think that single comes out on the 25th or 26th of this month. Mm-hmm. And where can we get it? Like on Spotify? Where do I go?
It will be available everywhere. So Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon, whatever you listen to, it'll be there.
I'm a Spotify kind of person because I'm anti-Apple products. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate mail about that. I am. So I will be getting it on Spotify. So cool. All right. Now I know where to go. Molly, before I let you go, and thank you so much for sharing your adventure and your heart and why you do that. I think it's so cool, and you're so young, and you have so much like forward life coming, and it's going to be exciting to watch the adventure. But my last question for you is, in this moment right now, I ask that you answer it with the first thing that comes to your mind. You do not have to explain it at all. Just blurt it out there with your beautiful poetic words. In this moment right now, Molly, what does love mean to you?
Love is home.
Perfect. Yeah. And I think, and I get the feeling that home is just where you are. Like, I could be in a hotel and be like, okay, let's go home. It's like you.
Exactly.
You.
Yes.
You know?
Wherever you feel at home,
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Totally.
I love that. Thank you so much again. And hopefully I'll get to see you live and in person on one of my trips to Nashville.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That will be fun. It'll for us to actually see each other in that form. And to everybody else out there that is watching, remember, as always, love hard, love true, and love proactive. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.